Morning, everyone. This is Trend Follower this side, and I'm here again with a new forecast video. We call this forecast, but what the goal of this video mainly is to understand what are some of the important zones and trade setups that we can trade this week with the whole time of a day or two or three. But point being, these are quality setups where I'm focusing on, where for some reason, one or another, which I will explain in the video, the zones are highly probable, very high quality, and setups are clean, in my opinion. So that's the goal. So I have divided these setups in terms of priority. But apart from that, I would always suggest to use your own system on top of this. And then there are some other priority trades which, you know, it doesn't have to be high quality, but if your system aligns, then why not? I can give my thought. But for me, I will focus on the most highest quality that I talk about in the video. So that's the goal. So let's look at the trades for this week. But if you have seen the past videos, or even if not, you know one thing for sure, I focus a lot of on news in terms of what are the news coming this week. Sometimes people like to trade news, sometimes not. But what is important is to know where the news is. And why do we do that? We basically do that so that you are in the names where the volatility is clear, will be there, right? So you want to go in where there would be movement, where the probability of choppiness is low. So that's the idea of looking at what are the news this week. So in terms of news, let's look at the weekly calendar. What we have um, this week, this is Jan 26th week. So this week, it's almost end of the month. We start with CNY, which is like the manufacturing PMI. For me, what matters on this is this can affect JPY. So this may affect JPY, I should say. So there are some JPY names later. I just want to give my thoughts on that. But that's where I see at the start of the week, CNY can be affecting JPY. Next is CHF, where the chairman speaks. It's a red news, so there may be something interesting. Uh, Remember, this is start of the week, right? Then on Tuesday, you have USD consumer confidence, but then CPI or CPI. Then Wednesday becomes really interesting because GBP has news, but CAD has rate statement, which is always the most important one. Uh, then what we have is USD federal funds rate and FOMC statement. So that again would be damn important, right? So in terms of important news, what I see is CAD and USD, and interestingly, these both are on the same day, right? So that's interesting. So I think USD names, the most movement may happen later in the week after FOMC, but we'll go through the charts and see what happens. Then you have Euro financing rate and policy statement Thursday, right? Then there is CPI, CAD, GDP, this core PC may be interesting one, but it's end of the week, right? So when you have a week where you have three rate statements, that's gonna be fun. So you have CAD, you have USD, and you have Euro. So those three would be the top important ones, CAD, USD, and Euro, right? And then the next important one for me would be AUD, Australian dollar with the CPI, with the news right at the start almost, right? So okay, so this is what I see in terms of news that I think can be good. Now the next thing I really like to look at is the strength indicator that I have. Uh, Last week we said JPY is very weak on weekly. we got JPY reversal. So that happens sometimes, but mostly it gives you good trend indication. What is interesting to me is if you look at GBP names, except for odd and ZD, everything has a bullish engulfing on weekly. Look at this. So potential demand, bullish engulfing, bullish engulfing, except for odd and NZD. What you have is either bullish engulfing or potential demand. So GBP and Euro have been acting strong last week, did act strong last week, right? So what I have here is my favorite list where I think GBP and Euro have been acting strong, at least last week. It may continue to do so. At least that's what I see. Ideally, you could wait one more week to be sure, but I think the move is pretty strong. And dollars clearly showed weakness, right? So if you look at dollar, uh, it's the futures, it's dollar. So if you look at dollar, it clearly showed weakness on weekly level, right? With the potential supply. Now, you need to know if this area is important and you are coming from a good region, you're coming from a monthly supply on dollar, right? So I think this can be a good setup where you can see that dollar has started showing weakness. So for me, this is the list that I'm most interested in, which is first is Euro USD. So I want to explain my when I look at these setups, I don't want anyone to blindly follow them. Of course, it matters what's the price action during the week. All these are these setups are just high probable zones that you should be aware of, right? So, with respect to Euro USD, what I see is that basically you have a nice daily demand here, where this is the preferred level, right? So let me undo. So this whole is a nice daily demand, potential daily demand, where if more days goes up, then it's clearly a daily demand. But potential daily demand here, where this long wick has been balanced. So you have already tested this. So what I would like to see is something like this. There is a con here, which is, you see, we had this down move, right? But what I see right now is some equal highs here. And what I see majorly, right, we are coming from the bottom. So I think what we can do is something like this. There is a second zone, which is great, is below this weekly. So if we don't do this, I think we should be able to do this. But because USD news and Euro news is later, it is possible that we do a pullback till here and go up. But what I was thinking about is we do this, right? We have such a strong weekly candle. Uh, we are above this kind of breaker. So ideally, let's say the week starts, we come here and we form equal high here. Then definitely this is a great setup, right? If you form. Now, the second option is you come down the next day itself, then also this is a great option, right? The only thing I would not like to see is basically some holding and then straight down, right? I do think this is a great setup. So one zone would be this. The second zone is look at this just below the weekly um, demand level, right? So no, yeah, weekly demand level, weekly high, previous weekly high. So you have this great demand level. So the second can be this, right? Now, my favorite would be if it does this, holds this, and then comes down and then goes up. Why do I say that? Because once you're here, you really are above this breaker. I mean, you still are, but I would like it to hold it up above here, like multiple daily candles here. So this would be my one setup that I really like. The second setup is EURUSD. Why I like EURUSD? is again there are two setups here. One is this one, right? Which I doubt it should come this down. Uh, the second is right here, this zone, right? If you look at the preferred version, then you have this. Now, what is interesting about um, Euro CHF is basically let's look at the monthly levels, right? So let me just these monthly levels, if you see, there was consolidation, we just got bought, and uh, more importantly, this here is like equal highs. We broke it, and this was another monthly level. So there are like two monthly levels, and if you count this, almost three, which is this whole zone. Right at that zone, you have a beautiful daily move. It just exploded. This long wick is again tested once, so I doubt it should come below. And I think it can go here. So I would like to keep it at the top because CHF news is at the start of the week, right? So this kind of move, CHF can move at the start of the week itself. So I really like Euro CHF because this is just clear. This is just clear as day, right? What is important to note is you have weekly, you have daily demand, and now let's go a little inside this candle. You have, let's see this 12 hour, right? So within 12 hour, you have a daily demand, but then you have definitely a 12-hour demand because look at this move. So you have a 12-hour demand, you have a daily demand, and I think the 8 hour, and you have an 8-hour demand also. So there's too much confluence in this region here, right? So you have monthly area, you have 8, 12, right? So I think max, I would like to see it come here or here or here, but I don't think it should break this level. So I would like to see something like this. Uh, it's the end of the month. Monthly, we are looking good. So possibly we can, I don't know, like can continue testing up. What I do usually is, let's say I enter here, my stop loss would be here. I will take my 1.52 hour and take it, right? So this is my favorite for this week. Then Euro USD, I explained it. Now let's look at GBP USD, right? With respect to GBP USD, again you have this, but like let's say you see this weekly, right? So there was this fair value gap. If you don't understand fair value gap, you can just honestly watch some YouTube videos on it. I can make more video on it if you need from my side. But this was a weekly fair value gap, right? So we have this green line here for weekly level. Just below that weekly, you have that bullish engulfing almost on daily. And this is the daily zone also, right? Now let's look at monthly, right? This area here was a monthly level. This was a monthly demand where we bounced. So this zone here, starting from here to here, is extreme confluence, right? So let's go again. You have a daily demand. You have a weekly fair value gap high, weekly fair value gap low, monthly level, which was a demand level, monthly level, which was a low, right? So now look at this, which acted like support. So let me just jog this all out, just for the sake of video. Now you see how much confluence is there. Now let's go further in the candle. On 12 hour, you have a 12-hour demand, clear 12-hour demand. On 8 hour, you have a clear 8-hour demand. So this zone should be held. This zone again tested this week, so I think it should be held. In terms of where it can go, I think this can cause a pullback, so we may get this, but eventually I will target this high at least, right? Now, keep in mind that this is the last week, right? So it is possible that it happens next week. By next week, it reaches there. Because ideally, what you want is honestly come down, hold for some time, and then next week go there because just because of how monthly looks right now. Monthly is a long candle. I would rather decrease the size, come here, and then we go. Right? So ideally, again, as I explained in Euro USD, what I would really love to see is it come here, right? Somewhere start falling maybe, right? And then during this USD news, FMC or Euro news, somewhere here it comes, somewhere here it comes, then it will bounce strongly. So initial part of the week, it would be great to see this, then it comes here, then goes down here. But this is the zone I'm really interested on. GBPUSD, similarly, I explained Euro USD and Euro CHF. Now, EURUCAD is damn interesting. Firstly, it took liquidity from previous month low, so it's bouncing from a great area. Why is it interesting? Is because it is a little bit on the confuse, and why is it on the second level, right? Because if you see the weekly looks amazing, right? But there are two things why it's a good trade, but then also there's the iffy part. So watching the price action during the week on this is very important. So you had this bearish engulfing here, this level, right? Let me show that this here itself. So you had this bearish engulfing here, which is this line, this one. So almost this line. Then again, a supply, weekly supply, this line. Firstly, you went above it. It should have rejected, but it didn't. Now, these two lines just below that, you have a daily demand. If you were really weak, you shouldn't have done this. You cannot form a daily demand right here. You should have either consolidated here or gone down. But you did what? Formed a daily demand. So the probability of this holding becomes higher because this was an extreme level which we broke. And now I think what it can do is this. Now, you may argue that, oh, we should like even if it bounces, it should just not break this. It should sell back. Instead, I have another argument, but before I go there, what I will do if I get in and if you come here, I will put my stop loss to break even and let it run. This is a risky area, so maybe take half profits. But look at this. This area has been tested once, twice, thrice. And look before also. We were here multiple times. So I don't think so that uh, you can easily say that, oh, it will come down and come up and come down here. Instead, I think the probability of this is higher, and this zone not holding, there is a good probability of that too. So, but still, you have to be safe. So you take this, come here, it comes here, you take some profit and put stop loss to break even. Ideally, you should see this, at least this area or this area, right? That's what I think should happen on EUROCAD. And the reason this is my second favorite is because this combination is great, but let me show you another combination that on monthly again you are at this bearish part, right? You are in the supply. So yes, the good thing here is that you didn't like consolidate a lot here. It was not like you had 3, 4 months here and then we are coming here. It was just a pullback, right? So this makes me confident that it's a pullback. What I showed you on weekly makes me confident it's a pullback. What I show you on daily, on monthly, that only one candle makes me confident that it's a pullback. And what you're doing is you're still in an uptrend, right? So ideally, after this candle breaks and all, I think we are looking at somewhere here, at least. So that's what I think about EURCAD and why it's one of the good setups for me, that I think it's good. So let me close this one. Let's go to GBPCAD. So GBPCAD, basically, I think there may be a pullback. Ideally, we don't test this supply. Ideally, we just come here and go up. But I think there is a good zone here which I wanted to just show. I like I like this guy more EuroCAD because the daily demand is clear. But let's say we come back. What is interesting to me is the 8 hour chart. You have this great demand right at that weekly fair value gap, right? So this weekly level, right? And you had this weekly bullish engulfing here. So I think basically what I think on this is these area are good ones. So anytime it comes here, I think it can be a good bounce area. So for me, what I would like to see is it comes below this, either comes below this, but this region should hold. So I would say this is a good setup if you can get something like this. But just because of probabilities, just because my thought is in case of probabilities, I would like to see this not getting tested when it comes here. Because then I feel like there's a higher chance of continuation. Or I would like to see some equal highs above. This one, I think this region is great. You'll have a previous daily high. You have that 8 hour demands. So I think that ways this region would be damn important. And that's where my focus would be. Looking at price action when it comes here, and ideally it does not this. Uh now the reason I have this chart is just to show why this move can be legit good. And what I showed on Euro USD, GBP USD, or EuroCAD GB, it's almost similar. You have these odd USD setups. You have this daily, it bounced, and maybe it goes up, and then, all that. But, but I think that GBP and Euro are more stronger, will become more stronger. Last week we saw strength on both, and that's why you saw this choppiness. But I was waiting for this some kind of bounce. Now you saw a bounce, so GBP has started acting stronger. So now the main point is look at this monthly chart. What you will see here, let me just temporarily remove this, is that this bounce is coming from a weekly level clearly. So this bounce is legit and we can go back there, right? Like we can go back here. So I think this bounce can be legit. And so this month, basically next month, uh, G GBP can be acting stronger than odd. And that's why all these setups I'm giving more priority to Euro and GBP than odd. So even if you see, I think I have it here, but even if you see Euro odd, that guy is bouncing from monthly demand. Bull, this was a bullish engulfing candle or the block, whatever. It just bounced from here, right? It's just bouncing from here. So next week you have this long week also, right? So basically what I'm trying to say is one thing is for sure that the probability of GBP and Euro acting stronger than Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar is higher. So that's why I have Euro and odd and sorry, Euro and GBP names. You may find the same setup on some, for example, NZDCHF. That also got still great bounce. Oh, and one more thing I wanted to explain was why I think Euro CHF and GBP CHF are good if we get a pullback. In one name, at least we have equal highs, right? So with NZD CHF, I do see something like this with Australian dollar CPI, where I think Euro and Australian dollar can act this weak this week. But I think CHF definitely should break higher, can continue higher, and because Euro and GBP have higher potential there, so I think those setups are good. Um, so we went with the first priority and second priority. Yeah, so I was talking about GBP odd. In here, what I really see is oh, I didn't undo this. Let me just give me a second. Is this yeah, okay. So in here, what I really see is you have a 10 daily, where is the daily demand here, right? Um, and you have a 12-hour good demand here, right? So with this, I really see that what happened here is you almost have equal highs also. You had a small daily supply where it was consolidating a lot. So this can really work. But you don't have a strong weekly close. Like it didn't do an up close. So I think what can happen is you may at something like ideally I would like to see this and then some pullback. But if you want to short this name, this is a good region. But instead of shorting GBP or these names are bouncing from weekly level, right? Sorry, monthly level. So I would suggest going long, but I do think what may happen is if you at the start of the week you see something like this would be great. If you come here right during Australian dollar news, that would be great. I think it is quite possible that you either you should come here. Now, will it test this or not? I don't know, but if it comes here. I would try to target this area and take a long. I think this can happen. Ideally, it should come here also, but I don't think. I think there would be some kind of resistance here, and then it may pull back further and then go up. I don't know. Let's plan for this week, and for this week, I'm looking at this zone, uh, where it bounced from monthly, and plan is that it should test this region. So that's it. Now in the third priority names, I just want to quickly go through them. I don't think these are very important, but if you have these names um in your list, you should know some of the things I'm thinking about. You had this weekly zone here, right? You have this weekly zone here, long wick. You just had a big move upside last week. You made a bullish engulfing candles right here. So basically, but you moved too quick. So I do think you will see a pullback, especially on CNY news on Monday. And then maybe it goes down, it may come down. What is happening is the trend is not clear, it's still in consolidation. So I would not be surprised if it comes here. I would not be surprised if it goes there. Right now, it's a wait and watch. But one thing where what I'm expecting is at least pull back in this region somewhere here. And the second thing which makes me think like that is because honestly, this whole long wick area hasn't been tested. It's a big one. So we had this big move. And if you see 8 hour. You have this beautiful 8 hour demand here, which makes me think that we are looking at a move here. If you want to short it, go ahead. If you want to long it, go ahead. But my point being, this week, the probability that it comes here is good. I personally would not like to short Euro GB, JPY. Instead, if I have to short something on JPY pairs, it would be USD JPY because Uh, while all others JPY pair closed above weekly previous week high, this one couldn't close above, couldn't even make a green candle, and this one has a great pattern here. You have this 12-hour supply, so it may do something like this. Or if you want to play more like intraday, you have this 1 hour great supply. So I don't think it should go above this region. So I would like to see something like this. My stop loss, I still would keep this, but with USD GPY, I would like to see something like this. We have almost equal lows here. So I would like to see something like this. Then it goes here, here. I don't know. We'll see how the weekly close happens. But USD, if there is a JPY pair that I want to short or I will short, would be not Euro JPY, but instead USD JPY. Let's look at NZDCHF. With NZDCHF, what is great is you have equal highs here. There's a great 4 hour supply here. So I think if it does something like this, that would be great. I would not like to see. I think odd and NZD will pull back a little this week. So I think this is a possibility. But again, as I said, if I want to long something instead of shorting NZD I would rather long GBP or USD. I don't think I have much here, except yeah. So I just wanted to show the pattern of how this long wick is here, and there's an 8 hour very quality demand in there, very high quality demand here. So I do think Australian dollar equal lows here would go up a little, but come back down, and then I think it can go higher. Why I like this zone a lot is it just below this weekly level. You have this clean 8 hour demand here. So I think once it comes here, you can see something like this. I do think I would not like to see that it tests this level before coming down here. If it does that, like if it comes here and then tests this level, I would not like to see that. Instead, I would like to see it comes down here, right? And then yeah, right. So I think that would be great. But let's see. Now, let's say if it comes here, right, and you have an odd CPI news, you have lot of combinations. So if it comes here, there's this weekly level, there's this daily level. So I think there is a possibility that you see something like this come pull back here. I would not like to personally short it in terms of uh because the weekly flows was higher. But as I said, if your system aligns, my thought is if it comes here without testing this region, you may see something like this. If it comes here without testing this region, you may see something like this. So keep in mind, in terms of probability, whatever side you want to choose, please make sure it doesn't take liquidity from the other side before coming there. AUDCAD, again I wanted to show how everything is kind of showing pullback. So you see this daily demand, and then they would. I don't think it can go there. I think it comes back here. But there's this beautiful zone here, which I really like for long on AUDCAD. So if you see. It went so up above this, which may in on lower time frame be breaker, right? This was a clear supply, right? So I if it comes down, there's this 8 hour beautiful demand here. Again, as I showed on AUDUSD, and there's this here. So I I would like to see price action in this region. I couldn't find a clean. You can call this a good daily demand. You can call this its level on top of level. So, in my opinion, if you look at a daily demand, this can be one. Yeah. So I would like to see price action here. What I think may happen is something like this, right? So that's AUDCAD. I think probability of odd pairs pulling back in this week is very high. Keep that in mind. So odd JPY similarly, I do think it can pull back. I would have said, oh, odd JPY, let's play this. But right now it's still under consolidation. It is in this long week region. I would not be surprised if this area test gets tested. If it does, that would be a great buying area right here. If it comes here, that would be a great, great buying here. Uh, at least that's what I'm thinking. I would like to stay away from odd this week for long side, as I showed you the combinations. Rest are not that important, at least for me. Um, oh, this one I kept it to show how this name again is bouncing. So everything shows that NZD and OD are in the regions where it should start acting weak. The weakest still may be USD, but the competition between Euro and GBP and NZD OD, I think Euro GBP are winning this week. So again. Let's go to the first priority, Euro CHF, Euro USD, and GBP USD. USD news is later in this week, so I would like to trade USD later. So that's why I think, like I would like to watch much. But let's see. I would not like to say much there, but Euro CHF I really like. So my favorite three would be these two, as explained in the video. The next would be these three, right? So yeah, that's it for this week, guys. I hope you have a great reading week. I hope you like these videos. And if there are any feedback, that would be great. I'm always open to feedback. At the same time, if there is any topic that you would like me to go into, as these are just forecast videos, but how are these zones found, or what's a good quality demand or supply zone, fair value, anything, feel free to comment and I will try to make a video on that. I hope this helps. I hope you have a great trading week. I hope you learned something. I hope now you have your own system to put on these zones. Please feel to like, share, comment, and subscribe. It always helps the channel. All right. Thanks, everyone.